On behalf of my mom, my brother Jeff and his wife Steph, my sister Banj and her husband Jeff, their beautiful children, my grandma, and all of our extended family, we are so grateful you are all here to help us celebrate our dad today. Thank you. He deserves a ginormous tribute. He really was our sunshine on a rainy day. Shoot, he was our sunshine on the brightest days too, because his smile, sense of humor, humility, selflessness, generosity, compassion, and love shone brighter than any light came from the strongest sunrise. His sense of humor filled the room and impacted every single person he encountered. Our dad was born on March 23, 1956, to my grandparents. He spent his youth and his high school years in Conestoga here. He grew up with a strong faith and was an integral part of this church for many years. He embodied love and spread it everywhere he went. He was a Sunday school teacher here too. We have met many of his students this week. He went to EDSS and then started his grown-up life at Home Hardware. My mom and dad met there. Their dating story started as she showed up to his desk one day after multiple flirtatious banters, and she said, "Well, are we going to go play tennis or what?" And on July 13th, 1976, that tennis match happened. Since that moment, my parents were inseparable. They married in June of 1979, and they joked they had to get married because they were godparents to Stacy already, and they didn't have a choice. Everyone knew my parents had that forever kind of love. They would have been celebrating 40 years this June. We're still going to be celebrating, just differently than anyone expected. Their absolute adoration of each other was evident. Gosh, as kids we used to squirm when mom and dad would always give each other kisses in the kitchen, or when they just broke out into a two-step in our living room, in the restaurant, in the kitchen, or wherever they were, no matter if there was a dance floor or not. He grabbed my mom's bum all the time. They were always holding hands and cuddling. At nighttime, Dad would ask Mom when she's coming to bed so she could be close. Or if she was knitting, he would say, "Just come sit by me here." And she would have to put down her knitting so they could be snuggling on the couch. This past October, Dad underwent a procedure in London. He was in the prep area for his pre-op. He was laying down, and Mom was at his bedside kind of brushing his head. And he was smiling up at her. So in love, he said, "You know, we signed a 75-year contract. We have at least 35 more years. You're stuck with me." She bent down and they gave each other the biggest sweet kiss. After Dad got out of that same procedure and back into recovery, Mom saw him being wheeled in his bed over to the holding area, and she ran across the room and gave him another kiss. And the nurses were all enamored by their gestures towards each other. To us, this was just our normal. Dad's laughter, that sweet snorting laughter, came out when he was around his family and friends. His life changed forever when he became a grandpa, and his eyes became even brighter than before, if you can imagine. He was the man that would do absolutely anything for everyone he encountered. His actions always matched his words. He loved hosting family and friends for any and all occasions. Traditional country music was part of our lives and those celebrations. We had to make sure there was too much food, just in case other people unexpectedly stopped in. And the food probably included his famous fruit salad he was so darn proud of making. The door was always open, literally unlocked and always open, because he loved having people stop by unexpectedly, and always feeling welcome is always what he wanted. He loved having people around. Even in one of our last ER visits, when we got sent up to a private room, he was so sad to go upstairs because he would miss all of his friends and emerge. He knew all of the healthcare providers by name. He always made time to speak to everyone around, no matter where he went. He remembered people's names, anniversary dates, phone numbers, birthdays, and details about all events that included his family and friends. His attention to little things and the basics in etiquette and respect meant everything. Mom and Grandma got orchids on Mother's Day, lilies on Easter, poinsettias for Christmas. We had to look at people in the eye when we were spoken to. We had to shake their hand. When we were young, the three of us kids had to answer any and all phone calls that came to the house with our name. "Hello, Allison speaking," because he wanted people to know who they were speaking to. We were embarrassed, especially if it was our friends calling, because no one else had to do this. but to him it was important that we were respectful. We always spoke kind to each other. We never cursed. Dad was kind to everyone he met. And as soon as you encountered our dad, you were immediately welcomed into his world. You usually got his famous, "Hey buddy, hey bud," greeting with an accompanying hug. Even when Dad went to the pharmacy for his meds, he only described that trip to Rexall as, "Well, I'm going to go see my buddy Shane." He's the pharmacist, by the way. No technology ever excited our dad. Something as simple as Mom trying to show him which remote to use to turn up the volume on the TV was met with a response of, "You know I'm not a techie person, Chris." And our multiple attempts to teach him how to power on the desktop computer could be one of our biggest challenges in Heidelberg. Although those computer lessons resulted in Dad's first ever email address, rickydickydoodle@hotmail.com. Not that he knew how to check it, but he had that email address. Oh, that sense of humor. The smile and the humor was embedded in everything he did. The bonfires, the cottage, the beach, trips to Niagara Falls, rearranging furniture just because, the backyard work, driving his lawnmower, only wearing sandals and shorts, no shirt. All of these included his silliness, his songs, and his smile. And when we eye-rolled or made some comment for him to calm his antics and craziness, on cue, he came back with, "Well, you're going to miss me when I'm gone." Isn't that the understatement of the century now? His two favorite holidays, Christmas and Pancake Tuesday. They stood out really because it's the most, or family came around the most during these two occasions. If he could keep our Christmas tree up all year long, he would have. He always joked that he would just change the decorations to match the time of year. Really, any excuse that he got to host our family and do things for others was his favorite. Next week is Dad's birthday. Last week we were figuring out the menu for his birthday party. We asked him what he wanted for dessert. He looked at us and said lemon squares. We turned back to him and said, "Dad, that's Mom's favorite dessert. What do you want?" Looked at us and repeated, "Lemon squares." Other years, we would ask him what he wanted to do for his birthday. "Well, your mom needs a new dress, and she would love to go to the shop near Mount Forest to get it, so we'll go there." Again, doing things for others is what he loved. That's what made him happy. He instilled in us that church isn't a building with four walls. It's about the little things, like going to Grandma Bender's to mow her lawn, or going to play cards with Grandma Gadet. He loved playing cards. His grandkids loved playing cards with Grandpa too. This past week has brought out so many stories about our dad. Please keep sharing them. Don't ever stop telling us his story. They're perfect. An overwhelming theme of positivity emerges with every story. Those of you who took your precious time to come see us at the funeral home saw how much laughter and smiles were at his visitation. He wouldn't have wanted tears. We did him right by laughing and reminiscing. This past year brought out the biggest battle he had to face. His strength and determination and positive outlook gave us all inspiration to fight alongside him. Never did we hear why me or poor me. He fought with everything he had. Every time a doctor gave him a treatment option, he agreed to it. He was desperate for any additional time he had with us, and if there was a chance he could even get a little bit of extra time, he wanted it. Even Monday afternoon, we were cuddling in the hospital bed. The doctor came in and asked what he could do for Dad. Dad looked at him and said, "As much quality time with my family as I can." It was never, "Let me be comfortable, I'm tired, let me go." It was, "How can I keep fighting and be there with my family?" And he fought with a smile on that face. And you see that smile with the pictures, and you can still hear that laugh, that nose-snorting laugh. That smile and laugh were infectious. And my favorite part, it lives on. My mom's smile, her strength, and her kind heart was cultivated for 43 years by my dad. She doesn't smile like that unless she was loved the way she was. If you're in need of help, you call my brother up, and he's there in an instant, no questions asked. "Jeffy, my basement's full of water. I don't know what to do." He answers, "I'll be right there," and stops everything to come. My sister's zest for life, creating good in everything she touches, involvement in the school, church, and the community. That's my dad. And look at our sweet nieces and nephew. Peyton's deep, heartfelt emotion in everything she does. Lexi's sassy, full of life spirit. Connor's ginormous hugs, his kindness, and his love. Leah's got an incredible memory, and her fun, crazy soul. And Scarlett, that sweet, sweet smile. She smiles with her eyes. She belly laughs and those round, chubby cheeks. All of that, that's our dad. My dad's story isn't over. It forever lives on. Don't stop telling his simple stories. The bonfires, the music, the family, the love. But more so, honor our dad with acts of kindness towards each other without expecting anything in return. Everyone keeps asking what we need or what they can do for us. We're going to ask you for just this. Today, tomorrow, throughout the next few weeks, do something for someone else just because you can. Don't expect anything in return or look for praise. And do it with the biggest smile. That's my dad.